So, my name is Harmon and this is Alicia, and we are two representatives from Serendipity. A little bit of background on our problem. As a country, each year approximately 1 billion plastic bags are consumed by the 4 million people in New Zealand. Every hour, over 40,000 plastic checkout bags end up in a landfill. We carried out an independent survey and it was found that 87% of participants believe that plastic bags are an environmental problem. 90% believed that children were not educated enough on the wastage of plastic bags. From the same survey, it was also found that only 49% of participants actually reused or recycled their plastic bags in some way. And to add to this, at least 16 million plastic bags end up on our streets as litter on our streets, beaches and parks.
So let's get a little more into our problem. So the wastage of consumed plastic bags in New Zealand is astronomical. It takes approximately 500 years for a plastic bag to decompose, and as a result we have an increasing environmental issue in New Zealand. In addition to this, the children of New Zealand are uneducated as to the effects that this can have on our environment, as agreed upon by the participants in our survey. We feel that this is a crucial aspect to look at, as these children are going to grow up to be the future leaders of New Zealand. There is no point in leaving a clean environment if they don't have the skills and knowledge to maintain it. So then we're looking at existing alternatives in terms of plastic bag consumption and the wastage that comes with it. So we can see there's a growing trend in supermarkets and stores to charge 10 cents per plastic bag for customers. However, this isn't 100% effective, as customers don't really see 10 cents as a huge cost in return for the convenience of being able to carry groceries and goods. New Zealand has also recently seen the introduction of biodegradable bags. These bags only take about 6 months to decompose, which is a huge feat in comparison to the 500 years of a regular plastic bag. However, these are pretty costly for businesses and therefore are seldom seen or available to consumers. Reusing and recycling these plastic bags is also an option for all consumers. However, for most people, we see that this is very rarely done. We see this as a result of a behavioural habit that all consumers kind of have fallen into, and that is that it's just way more convenient, way more simple to pick up a plastic bag and then be able to throw it out afterwards. We notice that these existing alternatives are aimed at stopping plastic bag consumption in the first place, but there aren't any alternatives that target the plastic bags after consumption, and we felt that this was an important idea to look into.
So our solution became to create a tote-style bag out of upcycled plastic bags, as modelled here. By making them into bags, we are creating a way for plastic bags to be recycled in a way that is practical, versatile and reusable, while preventing them from ending up on our streets or landfill, harming the environment. Secondly, we would hold presentation and design classes within primary schools, and this would give us the opportunity to educate the children on the effect that plastic bags have on the environment, while giving them a way to learn hands-on. We would do this by getting them to help us come up with the designs we put onto our bags. So next we have a plan of action, and this is just a breakdown of the process that we would follow. So firstly, primary schools. We would hold an assembly or presentation at the school that would be a way for us to educate the children on the environmental issues. Then we plan to take a class or a selected group of students in a workshop style manner and get them to help us come up with designs to put onto our bags. This would be done as they would receive a portion of fabric that can be drawn on with permanent markers or fabric pens, and this gives the child a way to learn hands-on and uniquely express what environmental preservation means for them. Lastly, at the targeted primary school, during that school week, we would hold collections where students would be encouraged to bring in plastic bags from home that would be donated to us that we can use to make these bags. We want to collect the bags as it would defeat our purpose to try and order them in from a supplier, as we are trying to reduce the amount of waste after consumption. So then we look into the production of the bags themselves. So for this we would look to take on volunteers for the production of our bags, specifically aimed at high school students. This would also give them service for credit to get things like school prefect, Duke of Edinburgh,
so on and so forth. Then we look at the practical and decoration aspects of our bags, so these are looking at the design. So the practical aspect is in regards to the shape of the bag, the pockets, all those kinds of things, and this would be decided by consumer feedback. Then we look at the decoration, so that's what the designs that go on the bag. This will be decided by the creations of the students we work with, our own unique designs, and also consumer feedback, and this will just ensure that we appeal to a wide range of people. Then we look at marketing, so with our finished product, we would take it and sell them independently at markets to the general public, and also make them available to parents of the students we work with, giving them a chance to buy the product as a result of their child's creativity. And the profit we make that we sell from our bags, we plan to put this back into our business, making it self-sustainable. So this profit will go into buying materials for our bags, and also funding the presentations that we hold in primary schools. This is particularly crucial when we plan on expanding our business and holding presentations across the country as opposed to just limiting ourselves to Auckland.
So our unique value proposition, we provide a way for plastic bags to be reused in a way that is practical but also appealing, and this is kind of like a fashion statement that tells people that things can be appealing and practical and versatile in a way that is still beneficial to the environment. The material we use to make our bags are from 100% plastic bags that we collect, so after the custom has used them initially, and these bags would have ended up most likely in a landfill or as litter on our streets. As mentioned before, we provide high school students with the opportunity to volunteer for us so that they can gain service credit for whatever they may require. And finally, we want to appeal to the customer's needs. This would mean that we take their feedback or suggestions and produce a bag that they would want and what would meet their needs. So our cost structure, as mentioned previously, our plastic bags would be taken up from donations, mainly from schools, but we are also thinking of getting in touch with supermarkets as we have discovered that many of these places have collection bins for unwanted bags or simply throw away bags that are damaged or found. The things that we would need funding for are things like fabric, permanent markers and fabric pens, thread, electrical costs, and baking paper, which are all materials that are needed to make our product. We have planned to sell our bag at $5 a bag, as this, while still covering our material costs, was what our survey showed that what people would pay for our product. The bag that we would sell, it would be a bit bigger than this one, as this is just a small scale model.
So then we're looking into our initial goals. So our initial goals will be to collect 500 plastic bags, which will then go into making and selling of 40 of our bags. And in this process we plan on educating at least 150 students, and this will just ensure that our business is making progress. Even just holding small quizzes at the end of presentations to ensure that children are grasping our concept, understanding what we're trying to present, and making sure they're taking away from our business. Serendipity not only strives to reduce the number of plastic bags that end up in our landfills, but also through the production of our bags, better educate the youth of our nation. How life on Earth is for generations to come is affected by what we do now. How we aid them, how we nurture them, to create environmentally sustainable New Zealand. Therefore, we want to educate students of all ages to unlock the potential that they possess to create a cleaner future. Thank you.
You will now have 10 minutes maximum of questions with the judges.
Can we have a look at the bag?
Yeah, of course.
It's kind of like on a smaller scale, we would make them a bit bigger. But
Can you tell us about the process, how you start with plastic bags and finish with this?
Yeah, of course. So the plastic bags are cut up so the handles and the bottom seams are taken off to open it up as much as possible. And then, so for that one, we use 6 layers and we lay them between, sandwich them between baking paper and basically just iron over them, which fuses the plastic together, that forms that material.
and then just sew it into the shape of that.
wonder too about the collecting. I mean, I understand people will donate them, there'll be no cost, except the collection cost. To do in any significant number, you'd end up with quite a big pile of material, I think. Just I wonder how you manage that volume of material.
Are you referring to, like, if we get in heaps of bags, what we would do with all of that kind of
Well,
thing?
how would they come to you? I've got 50 bags at home. How do I get them to you?
Yeah, absolutely. So we would hold collections around primary schools, so if you had children
Oh,
that we could collect from. Also, even just setting up places such as we mentioned, like supermarkets. So if you take your groceries to supermarkets, realise you actually don't need them, bin them there, and then we can go to the supermarkets and collect them from there. Yeah.
Do you think that this might promote more consumption of plastic bags?
Not really, because we did as a part of a survey mentioned before. It was found that a lot of people have plastic bags just lying around, and like we found that about 73% of them would actually donate them to us. But it was more about, because there are already a number of existing alternatives that try to limit the initial consumption of plastic bags, we kind of aim to, I guess it's kind of, I guess, convenient for someone to get rid of them, and usually they'd be like throwing away. But if we can take them from them, they're still getting rid of them, but we're reducing the amount that goes into landfill or on our streets, but also producing a product.
Also, sorry, just on that point, we use plastic bags as things like groceries, stuff like that, whereas you can use this bag, take books to school, then use it again for groceries. You know, it has a number of uses where you could not use plastic bags. Yeah.
I was just wondering about the ironing process. I mean, heat is also, it's quite energy intensive, and that has environmental impacts as well. I just wondered if you've sort of bought into that trade-off.
Absolutely. I feel like with any business idea, it's pretty risky to be trying to tackle a lot of problems at a time. At the moment, our focus is to reduce the effect of plastic bags in landfills, and also just educate about the environment in general to primary school students in the process.
So, around those objectives, and obviously selling something, you can track success really easily if you're selling something, but part of, it sounds like one of your objectives is education, it's more about selling ideas. How will you track success in that space?
So we kind of want to go off how many students we can talk to, alongside how many bags we sell, because we feel as though if we can provide children with the knowledge, it's like, in a way, it's kind of like providing one child with knowledge was worth a lot more value than, I guess, selling one product. Like, they have the power, they are the future leaders of this country, and we feel as though if we can equip them with this knowledge, they can take it as far as they want.
Just in addition to that as well, looking at expanding our business outside of Auckland, so schools around New Zealand, implementing committees within high schools that can run their own version of this, where they can use plastic bags and making their own bags as well. So just keeping a track of how many high schools around the country, around Auckland, are picking up this idea too, would be a good way to track.
Do you have any more questions?